Hey guys, what's up and welcome to Slurb. I'm Steve and this is Cash Game Cornerstones for MLB Thursday, June 16th. Alright, had a weird night last night. Lots of just crazy kind of action. I was on ICOP in GPP and that didn't go so well. But as far as the cash game plays go, they were mostly pretty good. Man, Minnesota was a letdown, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Anyway, on to tonight. We got a interesting slate out there. I mean, Adam will be covering the pitching for you, but in general, there's nobody too expensive, so we might have some extra cash to spend on bats, which is good because people are expensive. Catcher's not too bad, though. I love Salvador Perez in this spot. He's been getting hot. He hit a home run last night, which I called, by the way. And he's facing Verlander tonight, which is not an ideal matchup, but Verlander's been pitching above his ability lately, and Perez specifically has an excellent BVP against Verlander over a number of at-bats. So I really like him. 3.4 on DK, 3.1 on FanDuel. Absolutely no problem going with him. If you want to punt a little bit more, we got Christian Vasquez against Tyler Wilson. 2.9 on DK, 2.0 on FanDuel. This is like purely a punt to get in on the Red Sox. On DK at least, it's a massacre how expensive all of the Red Sox are. So Vasquez batting ninth there, not exactly attractive, but if you're punting catcher, getting on the team with the 5.8 or so total is probably a good way to go. I actually really like Kansas City today in spite of the matchup with Verlander, maybe because of the matchup with Verlander. And I'm going there again with Hosmer, 3.7 on DK, 3.6 on FanDuel. Had a really nice game yesterday too. And then there's also Hanley, which is Hanley Ramirez, which is definitely getting on the Boston train. Definitely, again, more about being a part of that Red Sox lineup than the player specifically. But that being said, Hanley is a huge upgrade from Christian Vasquez in terms of that. And he's only 4K on DK. I kind of expect him to be popular because of that, but you never know, given that Ortiz is at the same spot. FanDuel Hanley is 3.4. And speaking of Ortiz, I mean, if you can somehow afford him, he's like 5,600, I want to say, on DK. He's getting up to that 6K mark. Several pitchers cheaper than him. Then by all means, on FanDuel is only 4.1, so that's not bad at all. I love him there over Hanley's 3.4. And my nose is bugging me like I'm going to sneeze, but I'm not. Isn't that the most annoying when you like feel like you got to sneeze, but you just don't? And on that note, let's move on. Well, starting off the first three positions with Kansas City guys, and here I like Whit Merrifield. Man, this guy has just been raking since he got called up. Obviously no history against Verlander, but I think he has a nice shot. He's been hitting leadoff. He's only 3.3 on DK. And just about any leadoff hitter at that price I will be interested in, and what he's been doing as well as Whit has, then I'm really interested. But he's not a second baseman on FanDuel. He's an outfielder, so forget about that. But there we have Pedroia and Murphy, both at 3.8. Pedroia is 4.9 on DK, and Murphy is 5.0, so you can see kind of the disparity there, and I'm not really sure which one I like better of those two. If you're stacking the Red Sox, then obviously you want to get on Pedroia, but Murphy has a really appealing matchup against this Eric Johnson, who has not done particularly well in his limited action for the Padres this season. There's no Royals at this position, I promise. I'm not even sure there are any Royals listed at this position, but if there are, I'm not on them. But I am on Franco. I like Happ a bit today too, but I like Franco's matchup with Happ a lot, and his price of 3.8 on DK and 3.2 on FanDuel is totally fair. There are other potentials, but I especially on DK like Franco. There's also Nick Castellanos to consider. I think he's a pretty strong option against Tyler Duffy. 4.8 on DK is pretty hard to pay up for, but 3.0 on FanDuel is much more reasonable. I mean, he's cheaper even than Franco, so I definitely do not mind that. Oh man, Eduardo Nunez. I was so all over it yesterday, and then yeah, not a goose egg though, I guess, which is good. I mean, Plouffe goose egged me, Grossman goose egged me. I need another one of those. But I'm getting back on the Nunez train, and Grossman actually, get to him in a second. Against Sabathia today, Nunez has just been doing filthy stuff to left-handers. And while Sabathia has been pitching amazingly well this season, I am still willing to take that chance again. 4.5 on DK and 3.4 on FanDuel. Very affordable on FanDuel. On DK, kind of a bit harder to afford, but there really aren't very many cheap options that I like there. And then we got Manny Machado for not much more on DK against Eduardo Rodriguez. 4.8 on DK, 4.1 on FanDuel, so a much bigger jump there. But I like Baltimore today. They're in a good spot, and they're not as ridiculously priced as the Red Sox. I was all over Nunez, and I was all over Grossman yesterday. Yeah. But again, going back to that today, Grossman is just a great value on DK. On FanDuel, I'm not really interested, but on DK, he's 3.4. FanDuel 3.6. I will almost never play someone who's more expensive. Play a batter who's more expensive on FanDuel than DK. Another cheap option for DK going back to Baltimore. We got Joey Rickard. He's good in a righty-lefty matchup, usually batting second, which I love. 3.3 on DK, 2.7 on FanDuel, so he's a nice bargain there too. Another DK bargain, rare that we get those. We got Jose Bautista against Aaron Nola, which is not an ideal matchup. I think Nola is like a really a good pitcher actually, and he's good against righties. But Bautista in like 3 at bats has a hit and it's a home run, I think, against him. I'm not weighing that as much as the fact that he's 3.9. Just a great spot to say. I mean, that's just too cheap a price for a player of his caliber. Yes, Nola is really good, but he's going to get at least one at bat against another pitcher, possibly more. And I don't see him not, paying off that salary, at least in a cash game kind of format, which is obviously what we're talking about. And then again, if you can squeeze this guy in, Mookie Betts, 5.4 on DK, 4.5 on FanDuel. It's much easier, but still expensive. I don't think there's a cash lineup this season that has been worse because Mookie has been. I mean, maybe once or twice, but generally speaking, Mookie is one of the better players that you can get in there. He's leading off. He's having a hot season. He hits home runs. I think he steals bases from time to time too. And he plays for like the hottest offense in baseball. So that's good. And then we got Curtis Granderson. The Mets offense used to be hot and has really cooled off, in part because so many people are injured and they're filling in with Kelly Johnson and Rene Rivera, and made fun of Rene. Well, actually, no, it was somebody else. It was Eric. Eric made fun of Rene Rivera yesterday, and he went and hit a home run. So maybe roster Rivera tonight because I'm ripping on him. But anyway, Granderson is cheap on FanDuel at 3.4. On DK at 4.5. He's expensive, but he's still mid-ranged in between the other guys. And then going back to Baltimore, I like Trumbo too, especially on FanDuel where he's 3.6. DK 5.0 is that's hard to fit. But again, we don't really have. There's only one guy over 10K. Well, no, there's a couple, but there's only one guy I'm really thinking about over 10K, and that's Tanner Roark. Although I'm sure Adam will cover that in much more depth in the pitching video, so make sure you look out for that. Make sure you come on by the Slurv tailgate, slurv.com, free to sign up, and you come and chat with me and Adam and Eric and Max and everybody. And get some lineups made throughout the day. And then no expert chat today because it's Thursday, but there will be a rundown with a breakdown of everything from our videos and new stuff from throughout the day. And also keep an eye out for the Daily Dong Finder article that will have my best home run picks based on my model, the Dong Finder. Once again, this is Steve. This has been Cash Game Cornerstones for MLB for June 16th. Good luck tonight, guys.